Well, hello everybody out there, and welcome to another episode of Movie Passion. And yeah, it's October, we're getting close to Halloween, and I thought, hey, let's do some movie reviews about videos or movies that I would recommend for Halloween. So, the first movie that I want to talk about is VAMPYR, which is a movie from, I'm not really sure, 1931, 1932, something like that. And yeah, the weird thing about this movie is it was produced in three different languages: German, French, and English. And apparently, I don't know when, but somehow the original negatives of this movie were lost. And therefore, this movie was only available in a very poor quality. But then it kind of got remastered and re released in the year 1998. And this is basically the best version of the movie that you can get. And it's also what I would call the final version. Um, so this movie or this version has been released on both DVD and Blu-ray, and it has a good quality and it has a total length of 72 minutes, something like that. But there is also a US version, and I'm not sure if it's an official version or some kind of a bootleg, but the US version has poor quality, is I think 12 minutes shorter than the version that you get on Blu-ray, and it's also not called Vampire. Instead it's called Castle of Doom. So yeah, there's that. But I would say stay away from this version and just buy the DVD or the Blu-ray version instead. So what is this movie all about? This movie is about this guy called Alan Gray, and I don't know if he's some kind of a paranormal investigator, but yeah, he is very interested in everything that is kind of supernatural. He is studying things like devil cults and vampirism and stuff like that. And he travels around a lot. And then he ends up in this little town. I'm not going to try to pronounce its name. And he is getting to this hotel. He is renting a room for the night. But then immediately, weird and strange events start to happen. And this is the point where the movie gets kind of, I don't know, irritating or difficult in a way, because yes, the movie is kind of surrealistic, but the beginning of the movie says that those are the fantasy adventures of Alan Gray. And it also says that because he has been excessively studying things like vampirism and devil cults and stuff like this, that the line or the border between reality and fantasy started to blur. So it says that Alan Gray basically has problems distinguishing reality from fantasy in a way. So it might be possible that certain things in the movie didn't really happen in reality, but instead only in his mind, that it's just his fantasy. But I don't really know which events those might be. Yeah, but strange things start to happen. The first thing that happens is he locked his door, but for some reason there is this old man that has been able to unlock the door from the other side. And as soon as he enters the room, the lighting also starts to change in the room. And he just stares at Alan, which is already kind of weird. Imagine being in a hotel somewhere, and all of a sudden there is this strange man coming into your room and just staring at you like this. And then he puts a little package on the table, and he writes a little note on the package, which basically says that the package is supposed to be opened after he died. And yeah, Alan Gray starts looking around, and he can find all kinds of odd things, like he can hear dogs barking, but there aren't any dogs. and he can also see various different shadows walking around without any people. And yeah, later on, that person that came into his room is getting shot and dies. And Alan Gray opens up the package only to find that it's a little German book. I think the title was The Strange Adventures of the Vampire, something like that. So this book basically explains what a vampire is, what it's capable of. It talks about various different incidents or events. And of course, it also explains how to properly kill a vampire. And yeah, overall, it's a very weird movie with weird characters. And I would say the weirdest character is definitely the doctor. I mean, I don't know if it's intentional, but sometimes the acting is more comedic than terrifying or whatever. It's such a weird and strange character, and I still don't know what to make of this character. It's so bizarre. Imagine you are snooping around in a place where you have never been, and then there is this strange doctor coming downstairs like this. I mean, seriously, who does that? Also, when that old woman is giving the doctor the poison, the doctor is looking at the poison, lifting up his glasses, and he has this really weird grin, which isn't like a diabolic grin of some sort, but he has this weird smile, like now we can finally poison this person. Yoo-hoo! It's so weird. And I do have to say, I also like, I don't know if it's the office of the doctor or whatever it is, but I like all the things, like there are those little bottles standing around and little baby or fetal skeletons and various different skulls. So it looks really nice. Yeah, and I think one of the scenes that also kind of stands out in this movie is the scene when Alan Gray has some kind of an outer body experience. So for some reason, his spirit just leaves his body and just walks around. And then he finds this coffin with himself laying inside that coffin. And then they put a lid on the coffin, but the coffin has like a little window so he can look out. And then the camera is constantly changing between the first person and third person perspective while the coffin is being carried around, which is a very, really nice scene and very interesting. But to a certain degree, I really wonder what the point of this scene is supposed to be. It doesn't really help this movie or the story at all. Some people might say, well, because of this outer body experience, he was able to see where the coffin has been carried to, and therefore he has been able to find that cemetery or graveyard, and therefore also the grave of the vampire. But if you watch the movie, you will realize, well, that doesn't really make that much of a difference. I don't want to spoil too much. I don't want to explain why it doesn't really make that much of a difference. But yeah, it doesn't make that much of a difference. It doesn't really serve any purpose. It's just there. It just happened. Another thing that really confused me when I first watched this movie, and it is still confusing me now when I watch it again, is the lighting. Not only because the lighting sometimes changes, but the problem is that you don't really know what time it's supposed to be, because apparently the entire movie was shot during the daytime and various different scenes take place at night. So it's kind of weird when you know, okay, it's supposed to be nighttime, but you can see that it's bright and sunny outside. And the only thing that tells you that it's nighttime is the fact that people are walking around with candles and lanterns. And, first I was really confused and I thought, why does he need a candle if there is sunshine coming through the windows? What is that? But yeah, apparently that's just the way it is. And I also don't know if that was intentional so that you kind of lose your perception of time, or if they did it because those old movies needed a lot of light in order to work, which is also why the original Addams Family's TV show wasn't really as dark as you wanted it to be, because they needed a lot of light because they were shooting it on film in black and white. And yeah, the actors also said that those studio lights, they were really, really warm, really hot. Um, so yeah, I do have to say I really like this movie. It's also kind of a mix between a traditional movie and a silent movie or silent film. So you have basically the text at the beginning, and then you also have the text in the book, which is kind of like it kind of replaces the narrator. I hope I pronounced it correctly. But yeah, you have the text in the book, and then other than that, there is very little dialogue in the movie, but it doesn't really need dialogue. Um, yeah, and I really do like this movie. I still don't know what to make of those shadows that are walking around. I mean, the book says something about the shadows are being dead people that can't find rest or anything like this. But then there is also this one legged soldier who is still alive, but for some reason his shadow is also walking around. I don't know what's up with that. So, yeah, I do have to say it is a really nice movie. It's a slow movie, and it isn't. Yeah, there are some scenes that might be considered creepy, but it isn't really like what I would call a scary movie, and it definitely isn't gory or bloody or anything like this. There is no blood, not one single drop as far as I can tell. But yeah, it still is a very weird movie, kind of surrealistic. But unfortunately, there are certain things that I still can't really piece together. For example, at the very beginning of the movie, um, there is also this, I don't know if it's a crippled man because he also kind of walks funny, but he has like a very weird and crippled face. But yeah, it's never really been explained who this person is. I don't know, maybe it's just a random guest, another guest in that hotel, but yeah, it's kind of weird. Or maybe it was just the fantasy of Alan Gray, because after all, apparently there are some things that only happened in his mind. So yeah, so that's it. I hope you like this video. I hope you go and watch this movie, and I hope you like it just as much as I did. And yeah, I see you in the next video, which is going to be maybe next week, maybe this week, I don't know. But I'm going to release more videos before Halloween. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, and I see you in the next one. Bye.